Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Rosa DiDonato.
And I'm Marian Leary.
And you're listening to Amplify Nursing, a Penn nursing podcast supported by the Pinola Fund for Innovation in Nursing.
Amplify Nursing features nurses who are leading the way in science, policy, and innovation.
Our guests defy stereotypes, define practice, and disrupt convention.
We highlight the breadth and depth of nursing influence on society by amplifying nurses who are pushing boundaries and breaking down barriers to build a new paradigm.
Everything we do in nursing, you'll see an AI component. And I really want to see those of us who really care about kind of preserving that human touch piece of nursing and caring to be leading AI and to be sort of leading how AI should look like in nursing and nursing care.
On this episode of Amplify Nursing, Dr. Jing Wang, Dean and Professor at Florida State University College of Nursing, shares her journey from community-based care to pioneering digital health and AI in nursing. She discusses the creation of the first MSN program focused on AI applications, designed to equip nurses with foundational knowledge in ethics, responsible use, and practical applications of AI. Dr. Wang emphasizes that while not every nurse needs a master's degree, all should understand core AI principles through options like certificates and micro-credentials. She highlights AI's potential to reduce administrative burden, support clinical decision-making, and combat burnout, while stressing the importance of nurses leading its integration to preserve human-centered care. Looking ahead, she calls for a united nursing voice in AI to ensure the profession shapes the future of healthcare innovation.
We are joined here today with Dr. Wang, who is the Dean and Professor of the Florida State University College of Nursing. Dr. Wang, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today on the Amplify Nursing podcast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Leary, for including me. I'm very excited to connect with you on this podcast.
So I'm going to start off with the same question I always start off with. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into nursing?
Yes. So I am a diehard nurse that I got really interested in seeing how I can better support homebound seniors better take care of themselves at home. And one of the areas that I noticed is that they don't want to take their medication to control their hypertension. So that started my career in looking at a concept called self-monitoring and how by using different ways of using paper to monitor their behaviors can really help them better take their medication or better adopt a healthy lifestyle such as diet and exercise so that they don't have to take their medication. They just need to focus on diet and exercise. And that was before the age of a smartphone or AI. I was studying using paper diaries and then later personal digital assistant, which nowadays probably not a lot of people even know as a PDA. But by the time I graduated with my PhD, PDAs became obsolete. People don't like use papers, it's so cumbersome. And my field in nursing just has evolved from using smartphones, wearables, remote monitoring devices, Bluetooth connected devices, to wirelessly connected devices, to sensors in patient homes. And nowadays, smart homes with AI capabilities. So that's how my career has really evolved with one single question that's so important for a nurse is how to better take care of our patients with their chronic illness with better self-awareness through self-monitoring.
Yeah, I mean, and we're going to talk about it. You've had a really interesting career, and what you're focusing on now, I think, is really where nursing is headed. But why nursing? What was it about the profession that got you so interested in being a diehard nurse?
I think I just got so good being in the nursing program. I thought about going to medicine or dental school, and I went into nursing school by accident. It was the first year the university started the nursing program. I got picked into this first time nursing program was started with a bachelor's degree. So, and I was always the number one student. I was just got a lot of excitement from nursing where I felt that I can really do so well in nursing, not only in quizzes, exams, but also I was with those community nurses. We actually started with a nursing led organization. We started community nursing before there is community nursing. I enjoy spending time educating the patients about their medication, about rehabilitation, just sort of taking care of all the chronic conditions at home to make sure that those homebound seniors can really get connected, socially connected, but also take care of their chronic diseases that can prevent them from going to emergency rooms and hospitalizations. So I really got to enjoy that part of nursing, and that really kind of spoke to me as I can make a big impact in their lives. And that's why nursing, and I never looked back or wanted to change to medicine or dentistry, and I just sort of fell in love with nursing.
I love that so much, and I often hear very similar stories through this podcast of nurses who either weren't necessarily looking to go into nursing or to exactly what you said, sort of fell into it, and once they understood what nursing really was all about, they didn't want to go back either. So yeah, it's a story that I think really resonates. So I want to note that I saw on your bio that you went to University of Pittsburgh for your MSN, your MPH, and your PhD. My kid is currently at Pitt, so hail
Oh,
Pitt.
yay, hail to that.
Hail to Pitt. That has nothing else to do with this interview other than calling out that my kid is now an undergrad at Pitt, and it
Oh,
is a
that's awesome.
fabulous university. She's loving it. So, all right, I want to focus on your work with AI. So at Florida State University, you have started a Master's of Science in Nursing focused on AI. And I'd love to learn more about not only the program, but also why you thought it was so important for Florida State University to be a leader in this space for nurses.
Yes. So I think nursing to me is always about adaptability and resilience. And we, as nurses, are leading in healthcare and health profession education. I always think about, what are some of the areas that we can strengthen. I kept talking to all of our healthcare systems partners that as a dean, I do not want to be in an ivory tower just training students, spending all of the resources and efforts, and not getting you the graduates that you need to be your future workforce. So that started a lot of the discussion about how can we better connect with these healthcare systems? How can we better prepare our graduates to be practice ready in the current rapidly changing healthcare landscape? So I had this opportunity, which nobody could believe me about the story, that after I became a dean, I had this sort of dilemma where we canceled the master program, so before my time. And the accreditation body didn't recognize that was a cancellation of the program. And there was a state of Florida rule saying that we cannot cancel the program when it got escalated to the state. So I was left in a scenario where I was challenged about what do I do between accreditation body and the state of Florida, which both of them are important for our College of Nursing and for our university. So my only option at the time, and I thought about when you get lemons in your life, there's this traditional thinking, how can you think about ways to make lemonade? That we kind of decided that, okay, let's bring back a new master program. And being in the state capital, we don't have a lot of healthcare facilities around us. So our graduate program is all online, flexible, asynchronous. So we thought about who is the audience? How can we better prepare our future nursing workforce? What level is it? So I need an MSN program and I need a concentration. So we thought about innovation, entrepreneurship, and AI. We ended up in AI. Many people would think you're a visionary, but because it was too long and it got cut out, so we left it with AI. So that was the whole story, was MSN on AI, which we think is a beautiful story, and we love it in a way that we spent so many years and we became the first one doing it because we got stuck in that dilemma that we have to have a master program back.
But you also do a lot of work in AI. So it sort of seems like a perfect fit for your College
Yes.
of Nursing to be focusing on artificial intelligence right now. So can
Yes.
you talk about, like, how are you building out that program? How are you finding nurses who are comfortable enough to say, you know what, I want to jump in and get a master's in AI? What does that look like right now?
Yes. So my research program, as I previously mentioned, that has really evolved as sort of the age of digital health and AI evolves in healthcare landscape. So I was doing a lot of research in digital self-monitoring, multiple behavior self-monitoring, which is really complex for patient. So AI became a very sort of hands-on tool to me in my research and scholarship inquiry. I was conducting research with human in the loop digital twin AI through transfer learning at the moment. That how can we better translate some of those research and scholarship efforts that some of us were doing more early stage of AI in nursing care, in chronic disease management, to be what have we learned from those? How can we train our students and future nursing practitioners and future nurse educators and nurse scientists about this area? So when we are mapping out this master of science of nursing with a focus on AI, we thought about there needs to be some core AI concepts in nursing and healthcare our students will need. So we started foundational AI concept in healthcare, concepts like ethics that are really important, and then going into applications in AI. So students will have, in this master program, will have the opportunity to have 500 hours where they can be spent on scholarship inquiry on the AI topic and as part of the MSN, but also practicum hours about how they can apply the core and foundational AI concept in a clinical concept that is really important in nursing. And I think people are, of course, questioning us about this, why we are training our nurses that are these really human touch heavy profession to learn about AI. And I try to tell people about this, that if you even look at our major name, it's called AI applications in healthcare. So really it gives a whole focus on the application, which is why I think nurses are so important at the forefront of healthcare to drive the AI applications. And if anyone asks me, I would say nurses are going to be the largest consumers of healthcare or healthcare AI applications because nurses are the largest healthcare professionals in the US and in the world. So, as we think about the skills and the importance of, and also the current landscape about some nurses are pretty fearful about losing their jobs to AI. And you hear a lot about nurses with AI knowledge are going to be replacing the nurses without the AI knowledge. So when we look at all of this and some of the voices and concerns, that we really think bring in these knowledge and skills to nurses so nurses can really leverage the AI tools and the applications of these AI tools to really bring that human touch back to the patients. if you think about the critical nursing shortage nowadays and the nursing burnout and the general healthcare professionals burnout nowadays in healthcare systems, how can we empower AI to support, reduce administrative burden, better develop tailored and individualized education materials, support our nurses and nurse practitioners in better and faster clinical decision making, better connected data integration. So all of that really provide us this thinking about, yes, it is not perfect, but we got to start somewhere to equip nurses with this AI knowledge so they can feel empowered to do their job, to sort of make the healthcare system run better and to serve them better versus driving the burnout and nurses exiting the nursing profession.
So, boy, there's a lot, so many questions I have. I guess the first question would be, when you say prepare nurses with the knowledge and skills around AI, you mentioned it. There are nurses who are fearful of losing their jobs to AI. There's also nurses who are just fearful of AI in general. They don't understand what it is, how it works, how they're supposed to be using it in their practice.
Mm-hmm.
What, I guess I'm just wondering, like, what is the level of knowledge and skills nurses these days need to have, and the proficiency level to be able to feel confident that they won't lose their job, or that they will understand how AI is being integrated in healthcare? Because I think there's varying degrees of
Mm-hmm.
concern and varying
Yeah.
degrees of the level of AI one will need. I guess I'm just
Mm-hmm.
trying to quantify it for our nurses who are listening. Like, what do you see as the sort of sweet spot? Does everybody need an MSN in AI, or is there other ways that you suggest nurses really delve into and learn more about AI in the healthcare space?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that every nurse need a master degree. So part of what we are currently doing is to extract the four core courses in this Master of Science in Nursing's specialization on AI applications to be extracted as a graduate certificate. So students can just get the four concentration courses on AI applications and get a graduate certificate on it. So no matter you're a post-bachelor, you're a doctor, a nursing practice student, or PhD, or you already have a DNP or a PhD, just want to get a concentration on AI applications, you'll be able to have the opportunity to dive deeper. And for those currently practicing nurses who probably do not have time to sign up for four courses over, over a little bit over a year period of time, although we are asynchronous online, that we are also partnering with Coalition for Health AI. One of the major initiatives in CHI, in this coalition, is that they're trying to create something called nutrition label for AI, meaning when you have an AI product, you will actually get to see what is it about, how was it generated, what are the things you need to know when you eat a food. Well, you kind of need to know what's the nutrition kind of label from the food so you know what you are eating. So it's a similar concept for AI. So when nurses are applying these rules, how can we adapt those responsible AI principles and concept, which I think is really important. That it's not just in general, we need to apply AI in all of the areas. And I think understanding the basic ethical and responsible AI framework and principles are core for any nurse who's in front of the patient in healthcare settings and need to better understand in all of the processes of AI applications from developing to implementing to continuous evaluating. What are the roles of nurses that we're partnering with CHI to develop these what we call micro credential modules that we're going to make it available to any nurses that are out there who want to get some basic information to understand in various stages of AI from planning to continuous modeling, that whole life cycle of AI applications, where they will have the knowledge about what roles they can play and what are some of the basics that they can understand. So I think there are a lot of opportunities that are out there for nurses and nurse practitioners, educators, and practitioners. I think seek out some of the basic foundational knowledge building and then decide whether you need a more like dive deeper into an area where you want to be an expert in. You want to be an expert and you want a credential to back you up to be a chief AI officer or chief nursing AI officer in the healthcare system. Then you seek more opportunities beyond just a micro learning module or the network that you will need to advance yourself. But in the end of the day, I believe knowledge is power. And I think equipping nurses with the knowledge of AI and AI applications can counter a lot of that fearful thinking. And nurses have all the rights to be fearful because things happen to them. People ask nurses to trust them, and in the end of the day, it didn't go well. And nurses are responsible for the quality and safety of care. And a lot of times it's patient lives. So I encourage those sort of doubtful thinking. I encourage some of those so that we can actually challenge our AI developers and healthcare systems leaders to really engage our nurses from the very beginning, not in the end, just throw them the tools they adopted.
Yeah, I love that point so much. And it brings me to my next question. So, a lot of the work that I do focuses on human centered design and equity centered design and making sure that the things that we're designing right for the right people, but we're also designing them in a responsible way. And you mentioned the micro credential for responsible AI in nursing. And I'm wondering, like, how do you start to train nurses to use AI responsibly, ethically, and empathetically? What should nurses be looking out for so that their patients, communities can trust that they are doing right by them when integrating AI into their practice?
Yeah, I think in the responsible AI framework, it's really important to understand first when I talk about nutrition label, about how these AI tools were developed. What data or what system, what was used to develop the AI tools and what in the application area, what are some of the caveats? And we talk about guardrails a lot. It's all about when there are these AI tools, of course, from the marketing perspective, everything's great. But it's kind of drilled down to exactly what it is. And in what scenarios this will work, in what scenarios I cannot really trust it. And especially for those bedside nurses, it's really important to understand sort of the AI governance. And so we recommend, every healthcare system or hospitals or healthcare setting to really help their nurses understand, well, before AI, we know who's responsible for clinical decision making. Now, with a lot of the AI tools supporting and enhancing our clinical decision making, how would that governance look like? And what if AI is telling a nurse to do something and the nurses didn't feel comfortable based on their own clinical judgment? Who overrides who in a way? How can we protect nurses in an environment? How can we more systematically train, educate, and bring together nurses before we deploy the AI system to really think about these hard questions about what if things go wrong? Who's responsible? And how much can we trust the AI system in the patient scenario that's in front of us that we need to save patient lives? So I think all of these factors is what I mentioned. The knowledge is power, is the responsible AI principles that are really important for nurses and nurse practitioners to understand what are some of the guardrails, what are exactly this tool and AI tool is about, in addition to its intended impact or its intended efforts to reduce administrative burden or enhance clinical decision making or support patient education. More of the details that's behind the scene that develop those tools need to be brought up to front for nurses who are administering these tools on the bedside or on their day-to-day job.
So, for the nurses listening to this episode, if they wanted to learn more about responsible AI or AI in general, do you have some books or podcasts or websites that you check out regularly that you think would be helpful for other nurses to start to consume?
Yes, I think there are a lot of both from the federal government and the state government. There's always I encourage all the nurses to pay attention to the new rules coming up at both federal and state level. But in the meantime, I always kind of encourage people to pay attention to sort of some of uh, the big AI groups such as the Coalition for Health AI, who has partnered with us to develop these micro-credential learning for nurses, because they're the body that has all of both the leading healthcare systems, leading academic health science centers, but also the industry. So I think some of the big companies, I know a lot of health systems are partnering with them for their pilot products on AI for nursing. For those nurses who are in those systems, of course, they're more familiar. But for those of us who may not be in those healthcare systems, I think kind of paying attention to organizations such as a Coalition for Health AI is really important to kind of just keep up to date on what is out there and what's happening. We are very excited in creating this Nursing and AI Innovation Consortium to really bring all of the voices together to unify the nursing voice so people know not only from academia but also nursing innovation, entrepreneurship, industry, and healthcare systems. All the nursing voices represented, but in one united voice, in one united front, for people to better access nursing knowledge, nursing expertise, but also better distributing information. So currently, this Nursing and AI Innovation Consortium is operated at FSU College of Nursing, where you can Google and find us easily, but we are dependent. We are launch our consortium in September. We also have a book that will come out later next year. So we're really excited to be pioneering these efforts and to really bring the nursing voice to the leading AI and leading healthcare authority to say that don't forget about nurses. And there is this educated, knowledgeable AI expert in all of the healthcare areas. And here is where you can find it at the Nursing and AI Innovation Consortium.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're helping to lead in this space. I wonder, as sort of a wrap up question, where do you see AI in nursing going in the future?
I think it's going to be everything we do in nursing. You'll see an AI component. And I really want to see those of us who really care about kind of preserving that human touch piece of nursing and caring to be leading AI and to be sort of leading how AI should look like in nursing and nursing care. I would rather nurses leading how we can leverage and use AI versus the other way around. Think about the electronic health record era, where nurses are so sort of vulnerable. What can we do when there are systems and tools that are not supporting what we do? Like your work about if it doesn't support that human centered principles, what can we do? So I really encourage and I want to support, anyone, any nurse that's out there. How can we elevate nursing profession together? We got to do something. We can't just keep saying, why are all everyone else not include our nurses at table? We need to sort of have a united front to say, we know this, we got this, and we are nurses who can master AI, and this is how AI in nursing and healthcare should look like. And we are the authority voice. And everyone in AI and healthcare cannot ignore us anymore. So I think that's what I would recommend to all of the nurses out there to really think about how can you be part of this elevating nursing together. What can you do to elevate nursing in the AI and healthcare space? Because it's not going to go away and it's just fast and furious taking over everything we do. And I want nurses to keep how nursing care should look like, no matter how AI is infiltrating every component of what we do.
Yeah, what a amazing point that, AI is here and we need nurses who are leading in the health and AI space, not just in nursing and AI. And so to be able to do that, we need nurses willing to jump in, master the AI field, and then start showing up, taking the lead. It's a great point, and I hope everybody who's listening is as inspired as I am to sort of
Oh,
jump in and take that lead. Dr. Wang, thank you so much for talking with us today on the Amplify Nursing podcast. I really am a huge fan of the work you are doing and appreciate your time.
thank you so much. It's my honor to be here.
Alrighty. Hello, Angela. How's it going?
Hey, Marion, how are you? I'm well.
Sweet. I am really excited to talk with you about our next episode with Dean Wang, who is over at Florida State University doing super cool things with AI education and nursing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, and I really, really enjoyed her perspective.
Yeah, for sure. And, we talked about how we need to better prepare our nurses for this AI landscape. And it's so interesting to me because, AI is everywhere now. And I know that there are a lot of nurses and others, but we'll talk about nurses because that's why we're here, who are really unsure, concerned about AI. And so the fact that they're focusing a master's program in nursing on AI and then a number of these other like certificate programs and things so that nurses can get the competencies and comfort level they need to lead in this space is super important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that she's been so creative with, I mean, first of all, to have the forethought to put together one of the first, if not the first, AI MSN. I mean, genius
Yep,
move.
agreed.
But also even just the trajectory of her career and how, normally when, or at least this very well just me, my bias, but normally we think of like really big innovations coming out of like critical care and like really highly technical places. And she was implementing this in a community setting. And I thought that's such a novel way of looking at a really high speed technology. And I think that just goes to show like how incredibly creative her thought process is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and she even says it, right? Like nurses are going to be or are the largest consumers of AI in healthcare, right? Like because
Mhm.
we're the largest workforce in healthcare. And so not educating nurses in this space is just a detriment to the profession. And so, yeah, I totally agree. Like taking the lead on creating these sort of educational opportunities for nurses is really just putting the nursing profession ahead in a way that we're going to need. We already need. It was interesting. I was talking with someone from South by Southwest recently who said that AI is the next big thing, but we sort of have to wait and see how it plays itself out. We all thought we were going to have 3D printers in our houses when 3D printing came out. And they said, I don't know about you, but I don't have a 3D printer in my house. So yes, everything is focused on AI right now, but everything was focused on crypto however many years ago. And, all these new technologies, they're big, they're flashy right now, but it's, still to be determined what the future looks like. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket, but we also, as a profession, need to be able to keep up with, where we see these technologies going. And so that's why, I do think it's really important that we are educating nurses in this area. But to her point, not every nurse needs to get a master's in AI, because there are other things to focus on outside of AI in nursing and healthcare.
Right. And even just her encouragement to, micro credentialing and things like that I feel like is so novel to nursing. Like we have this as a profession, I think, anyway, this is, my opinion. We have this thing
that's why we have you here, Angela.
Yeah. We have this thing about like how many letters can we put after our name? Like it's almost turned into a meme at this stage of the game, the way we want to have all the things. And the fact that she's not saying you need an MSN, you need to do this, you need to have your PhD, everyone needs to focus on this, that she's saying, you just need to keep yourself educated, and this needs to be part of your mix of what it is that you're reading and looking at, as just as if you would do any other kind of continuing education. This needs to be part of your wheelhouse. And I think that that's, a great message for people. Amplify Nursing is hosted by Dr. Angela Rosa DiDonato and Marian Leary, and produced by the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing. Music for the podcast was created by Harper Leary. The podcast is made possible by the Krista and Rich Pinola Fund for Innovation in Nursing.
Until next time, keep pushing over, under, around, and through. We want to thank you for listening to the Amplify Nursing podcast, and remind you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your podcast listening. And if you can do us a solid, please rate and review us as well. It will go a long way in amplifying our episodes.